get it started. Our objective is to finish what we need to do by 9:30. And there's a fair amount of material to cover here. You have a package that contains a number of things, which I've just seen for the first time, but there's an agenda here of what we're going to try to cover. The consultant team, Daphne and Judy, have provided an agenda for the visioning session, which is going to be the bulk of what we talk about today. We've also put in the package the results of the survey that was done, and we'll go over that to a greater or lesser extent, depending on how much time we have. But basically, the results of that survey is part of the input that we're all using as we prepare the plan. And in addition to that will be what we hear take place during the visioning session on the 18th. Daphne and Judy are going to quarterback most of this meeting. I wanted to start by just saying a couple of things. One, to recognize the contribution that you're all making by continuing to participate in this committee. It's greatly appreciated. Also, there's been a few accomplishments since the last meeting. Part of that's in your package. There's a series of proposed logos that were prepared by Stephen. No, I was going to say whether it was Pam's son or I was going to say Stephen. Pam's son, Stephen. So we'll be taking a look at those, and I thought they were fantastic. There's been a number of things done to begin to promote this visioning session because it is coming up pretty quickly. And Abby had put in the packet a list of the things that are done, which is quite impressive. Abby, do you want to say anything about any of that?
So this is, I guess you have it, I think I emailed it out and you have it in front of you. This is kind of the list that what we've been doing, staff has been doing. So we'd recommend any of you to forward to your contacts. I've been sending, I think, weekly email blasts to everyone that had signed up through the survey. We had a little over 400 people sign up that way to receive updates. So I've been sending those email blasts and also to other boards and committees or anyone else I could really think of. But if you have your own groups, like any other kind of social clubs, stuff like that, that would be helpful because most of the contacts I have are people who've signed up to receive like government or planning board notifications. So if you could use your resources for other people that may not be as commonly involved in receiving town notifications, that would be very helpful.
Is there an announcement that somebody could cut into an email and send to their friends and stuff like that? Okay, so such a thing might exist. Okay, so I think that would be helpful to all of us. I know we all have a bunch of people who would probably send it to, but we don't want to have to create the thing. We just like to sort of send it off. So anyway, so you've got the agenda for today, slightly reorganized. We're going to talk about what's going to happen during that day. We're going to talk in detail about the agenda and what all our roles are going to be. Talk about that logo and the branding of the whole process, and then a little bit more on that outreach and so forth. So with that, I'll turn it over to Daphne and Judy.
So the first thing, why don't we just get through the details of the day. There are just a few details, that's the fastest thing, so we get that out of the way. So the first is that food is critical, and Abby's taking care of that. Do you want to mention?
Yes, we ordered from Costco's, so we've gotten some sandwiches, some roll-ups, some wraps.
And they must be big, if they're from Costco.
Okay, yes, they're super size. I know, okay. We got, I think we were thinking 5 platters or so. We're trying to think, 100.
Right,
We're
we're designed to 100.
Chips, cookies, some dessert, cookies and desserts, chips, waters, and a fruit platter, or 2, maybe a little bit of fruit too. So we'll see how far that gets us.
And how did you estimate it for how many people?
100. We're hoping a minimum.
So what happens if more than 100 show up?
They have to share the big sandwiches.
Yes.
So we got
And none
chips
of us
like,
will eat.
Yeah, it's like family hold back.
Yes. So we have more than 100. Yeah, family hold back, and we got chips, those little like bags of chips. So maybe people could have like a bag of chips.
Okay.
So childcare, so we were able to get 4 people so far.
I think, right? Did your daughter?
Yeah, the Sadie will do
your
it.
daughter?
Perfect.
We might even
Um,
get Maddie, I think she had something, a conflict, we have another that might be able to do it.
Oh, so 4 or 5, good.
Good.
And then transportation, Council on Aging has offered if people call ahead of time to pick up. Now, overflow parking, were you able to work that out, Abby?
Not yet, but I mean, I could, in the past, we've used, the church across the street, but I kind of thought, I don't know if we need to with the
Well, we were
senior
saying
center
that
and the high
maybe
school.
we'd have
Do
the
they-
committee not park at the school.
Yes, do we want to,
Yeah.
maybe the committee members, even at least, maybe we could park, in the high school parking lot, just to give the spots immediately around the building.
If that works for you.
Around,
Hopefully it'll be nice weather.
yes.
Well, the Council on Aging, will anything be happening then?
No, so we also have that we could park there on the same side of the street. Council of Aging's right there,
Right.
and then the high school.
So that's a lot of
lots,
overflow,
yeah.
actually. No, do we know, okay, so is everyone that's here able to attend on Saturday? Is there anyone that's here not able to attend? You're not able, oh.
And I think there are 3 people total that I know of
So
that
what's
couldn't
the
make it.
total number who can? Do we know?
So I think there's around 14 committee members, I think.
And 3 cannot?
Yeah, is that right? Or 15 or so? I know 3 people said they were, I think Peter's gonna be away.
Peter's gonna
here.
be here, there.
Oh, is that, yeah, this Peter is not gonna be here. You and
He's going to high.
Tom can't make it.
So 3 out of
Only
15?
3 out of 17.
3 out of 17. So
Okay.
14 can?
Yep.
Because we'd like to have 8 to 12 people at a table. So if we got 8 to 12, no, that's good. Okay, we'll talk more about that when we get there. So 14 committee members. Okay, we also, one last detail is the raffle. Now, we didn't hear from any of you, so I actually just took it upon myself, and I got 4, I think. Yeah, I got 4 so far.
Wow.
So here you go.
Thank you. From where are these from?
So Not Your Average Joe's,
Oh, wow.
Bubbling Brook, Comella's, and then I have calls in to, if someone else will go pick them up. DeFrisco's, they said tomorrow, Anthony's Cold Fried Pizza, and Westwood Gardens after Mother's Day, because they're a little busy with the flowers.
I'm sure they're busy right now.
Oh, okay.
So if
Wow.
I let you know, if someone else could go pick them up,
Sure.
because I was here today, so I was able to pick them up, but it'd be kind of not very efficient to come all the way here
Right.
just to get that around. So we can now put that on, we could put that on the flyer for the
Okay.
last round that goes out.
Okay.
So we're gonna do one last round of, flyers. If you have any other ideas about where, if any of you would like to pick one up, feel free. Now we know we have a raffle, we know we have, and we can just add to it.
I'll donate a 3-month membership to the Y.
Oh, that's
Family
wonderful.
membership. Put a
Wow.
little
you.
packet together.
Thank you.
Can I ask your name?
Charles River YMCA, Paula Jacobson.
Just show up and you get raffle tickets?
People who are. We'll do a 3-month family membership.
Wow, that's really nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll donate a Judith Chiari print.
Ooh, I heard those were really nice.
They are really nice. Yep.
And may I ask your name? Nancy.
Nancy. Actually, my husband's donating it because he's the one that's done all of the printmaking.
Oh, yes.
So Charlie Donahue.
Charlie Donahue, okay. And anyone else who has ideas, you have a whole week to think about it.
So we have how many in total now?
So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, so that's, for less than 100 people, that's pretty good odds right
That's
there.
pretty good odds. And you can only win if you stay till the end, and some people might have to leave, increasing the odds for those who stay.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get right to it. Let's talk about what's going to happen there before we talk about getting people there. Because once you get a feel for what's happening, it might be easier for you to talk about it to people. Or if they have questions, you might. So let's start by looking at the agenda, which should be in your packet and should look like this.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of take a walk through. So people will arrive at 11:30, and once they get there, they will be greeted at the door. One or more of you, we hope, will be there to help out with that and could take turns with that. We'll be giving people some information, and they'll have a name tag, and on their name tag, we'll ask them to write one word that describes Westwood. And that's a way of having like an icebreaker, so that if, let me see what your word is. Oh, why did you say that? So that's one, because they have a half hour now to have lunch. During that lunchtime, we're also going to have scrolling questions that the committee members have submitted that are kind of fun question and answers. And we'll have that scrolling in the background. And then these one-word descriptions on the name tag and food. So for half an hour, that will be happening for people who come early. At 12 o'clock, we start the event. So we have, just brief introductions, who you are, who we are, who they are. And then we'll have a very brief PowerPoint. And in that PowerPoint, it's what you see in this kind of gray box, that will not be there that's just here for you. That gray box will be removed for people who get an agenda. But just so you know what's in that PowerPoint, we'll talk about the process and the purpose of a comprehensive plan. And as one way of explaining that, we'll have that photograph of the 2000, and someone needs to go between now and then and get a photograph of that site that now has a subdivision on it. The horse farm that was turned into a subdivision. The people who thought, we like it that way so we don't need to do anything, didn't do anything, and it turned into a subdivision. So that's kind of an illustration of why to plan.
Can anybody think of another example of that? Yeah, of a change that,
Was undesired.
Islington Center.
Oh dear.
That's,
You wanna start
That's a
with
big
that?
one.
Why does it have to be an undesired change?
It could be a desired one.
something,
I mean-
something you just didn't want to change, but somehow did, whether,
I don't know if you can take a photograph, but remember when the elementary schools went from grades to neighborhood schools in 2000, maybe 2002? The elementary schools changed. And I don't know if that's something that was even discussed or talked about, or
That was
Does it
probably the
take
school
a-
department
Do you mean in terms of grade
decision.
configuration?
yes.
Yeah, they went to neighborhood
Population
schools.
They went
driven.
to neighborhoods.
And the only reason I ask is because we will be taking a picture of some people's houses that are there, and they may not
Oh, I see
understand
what you're saying.
that the fact that
We
they
don't
live
want
there
you
is not a
here.
bad
Yeah.
thing.
Right, right.
And in order to appreciate fully the change, you would have to have had a pretty good photograph of the field
The
before that.
library,
I'm sorry?
the library.
The
Yeah, we're gonna
old
scroll
library
some
and the
of
new
that.
library? That's a good idea.
Police station.
I would think,
Yeah.
something positive would be
Police.
better.
Islington with the fire station is new, and that's a good idea.
I mean, University Station is probably the
That's-
most,
That's the big one.
the largest thing that this plan talked about, that the prior plan talked about.
Sorry, which
that
station?
actually had- The University Station.
University,
the
Oh, yeah,
development down there.
right.
Good to know.
Which
Well,
was
we
going
have
to be
an old-
Westwood Station at
we
the
have an
time,
old-
yes.
Old picture of the
The industrial
GM
park,
parts plant, or,
Oh,
one of the old industrial buildings there that
probably.
would be
So-
a nice.
That would be
if you
nice.
an old picture like of High and Gay, and then you can show the same thing now with traffic lights. That I think will.
Not a positive.
That's,
I
it's a
think about-
positive and a negative depending on the way you look at it.
Yeah, I know that, even for myself, like, some of the historical houses that have been like knocked down because we're,
Mm.
whatever, that's to me is like, that was there, it's no there any longer. If we're gonna have conversations about what do you wanna see in
Right.
Westwood,
right.
is that might be a conversation starter. But I don't have a necessary
A
picture, but I
specific,
bet those
yeah.
pictures exist.
Yeah, yeah.
Because,
And I think you were saying before you were going to take pictures of, somebody was saying they were going to take photographs of the changes, like the
I've taken
library.
some.
Okay, so we'll have those, and those
Okay,
will scroll
good.
through.
Okay, so
But I
we'll
think your
try to-
point here is that you wanted to make, rather than just having some visuals, you wanted to make a point
A
about
point,
some
and one of the
Okay.
points that we want to make is that the reason we were using the sort of negative is that when you live in a place like Westwood, which is so lovely, a lot of times you feel like, well, why do we bother planning? And we don't want anything to change.
Right.
So
And it
we're just
happens
trying to
before your
say,
eyes.
even if you don't want anything to change,
Mhm.
you still need to plan because it can still change.
Mhm.
So that was the point of the negative.
Mhm, Yep.
But I think that that was a point well taken, that we should have some positive as well,
Mm.
because that's another very good reason to plan.
I also would want to add, I think I'd worry about the conversation getting sideswiped into something else. Like, I know there was a lot of discussion when I was trying to promote the survey about the tavern. So I don't know that we want to put that out there and then have that kind of take the conversation in a different
Mm.
direction. The
Blue Heart.
Hard tap.
the hard
Isn't
cap.
it in
Yeah.
ours? That one on Washington
Is that
Street?
what it's called?
Yeah,
I
it's
never heard
the-
it called that.
Oh,
The
okay.
blue heart tavern?
Blue Heart. Oh,
Well, one of
Blue
the
Heart.
things we're
Blue
going to
Top.
talk about tonight is that we're going to ask that you help keep the conversation on track, and we're going to talk about how to do that. Because that's a really important point, because the point of having this session is we want to get meaningful information out of it. In order to do that, we have to keep the conversation on track.
But I mentioned traffic lights on, and I'm doing the transportation section, is that you can't control the growth of the traffic
Because it's regional.
because it's regional, right? And, but things like traffic lights do make it safer and
Oh, right,
more efficient.
absolutely. So just to continue on about what's happening at the forum during the PowerPoint, just to finish the PowerPoint presentation, what we're going to talk about is also, we're going to have a summary of what happened during from the previous plan. So another way of demonstrating why planning is a good idea. And then identify changes. And if you have any ideas about what's changed between what was happening then and what's happening now, whether those changes be demographic, those changes be in attitudes, technology, what are the kinds of changes that would drive a need for a new plan? So if you have any thoughts, send them our way.
Yeah. Things have been implemented from the previous comprehensive plan. You really have to mention the land trust, the Westwood Land Trust, because that was one of the first things that were implemented from the last comprehensive plan. In fact, we were looking at the dates, and it actually got implemented before the plan was actually adopted.
There's a bunch of things like that.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon.
It's a good one, though, Steve.
So Abby was going to make a list, and maybe you could
Yep.
circulate that,
Sure.
Yeah,
and
that'd be
people
good.
could respond to it.
Okay.
Yeah, because obviously,
Yep.
there were hundreds of items on that list, so we pick out a dozen.
No, we're
of them,
going to
so.
pick out the salient ones, yeah. And then Judy's going to make a summary of the open space and recreation plan and the housing production plan, so that we can also talk about things that are underway and things that are related and relevant. And there are some things in there that, are important foundation for the plan.
Mhm.
Then there's the summary of the survey results, and Abby created that, and it's in your packet. It's the colorful one. And I don't know, Abby, do you think it'd be okay to have a copy for everyone, or just have a few copies lying around for people to look at? What do you think?
I could print a,
It'd be 100 copies,
yeah.
or, I don't know, 10,
Oh,
right?
30, 40?
Maybe 30 or
Yeah, maybe
40.
30, and we could have like a reference table,
Okay.
we could have this, and we could have the housing production plan.
If somebody
open
wanted
re-
to take it, they could.
What's that?
If somebody wanted to take it, they could.
Yeah, but they'd have to ask permission. That way, not everyone's taking it. And if we could have a copy of the housing production plan and the open space and rec plan there, and just have written on it, for reference only or something.
Okay.
Okay?
So, in addition to that, people will also have this fun facts that Judy's office made here. it's just a two-pager of just some things that people might know or might not know about Westwood. And again, it's just to have, it's kind of like a prop to get people thinking about the town and stop thinking about, that they still didn't go to the supermarket and they still have to pick up their child. Want them to focus in. So this is one way of helping them to do that. Now, there were some committee members who sent in some fun facts after this had been completed, and we have taken all those and we're going to create like a screen scrolling screen.
Continuous loop.
Continuous loop with those during the 11:30 to 12 and then later on as well.
Yeah, but we also are gonna try to integrate some of the committee's ideas in this. We can't, do it all, start all over again, but we think we can make some edits here and incorporate some of those ideas because they were cool.
Yeah,
So
they
we'll do
really
what we
were.
can. We'll do what we can, and what we can't put here, we'll put in
Put
the
on the screen.
PowerPoint. Yep.
Yeah. So then, at the end of the PowerPoint, which is really going to be brief, half an hour maximum, we're going to do a quick overview of what the majority of the time is going to be spent on, which is the small group discussions. So if you would, turn to, the facilitator's instructions.
Maybe it's in the,
Have that.
oh.
Oh, no?
Thought I could do that.
Not here, okay.
No.
So I'll just have to take you through it, and then
Okay.
you'll get one in your, email.
I'm sorry, I thought I printed it out.
Okay, so we'll just go over this now, and then you'll have it in your email. So so we're going to talk about this for a few minutes, because this is the most important part of the event. How many of you have facilitated a small group discussion before? And have any of you not? Okay. So we've done it many, many times, and every time you have to go through the same mental process, which is you got to start by saying, okay, I'm here and I'm not there. I'm not where I was and I'm not where I'm going. I'm fully present.
Yep.
And I can't think about what I left behind at home and what I, got to get to later. And also, I'm here because I'm curious to hear what other people have to say. You're going to have a chance to say what you believe later, not then. But when I say, I don't only mean with words, not with your eyes and not with your body. You can't say what you think. You can't say you agree. You can't say you disagree. You can't say, I have a different opinion. You're just open and curious. And your job is to manage the discussion to make sure that people who want to dominate don't, and people who don't feel so comfortable get a chance, if they want that chance. If they don't want that chance, you don't force them. But you want to make sure that everybody who wants a chance to say something gets that chance. That's your job. And so it's also your job to make sure that people who want to dominate don't. So how do you do that? One way is, so you're going to be the dominator.
Okay.
So you're talking. So you just walk
So it's all
right-
about me.
It's all about you.
He's not even
Thank you.
gonna-
And so, they're not getting it as you walk closer.
Wait a minute.
No, thank you. One way is that. The other way is, if someone is saying something and you feel like it's just not really relevant, well, they obviously think it's relevant. You need to respect that. So you're going to have a large pad, and in the upper right-hand corner, just draw a box and just write down what they're saying. They think it's relevant. You need to respect that. You need to write it down. It's not, you send the message that it's not part of the overall, because it
By
wasn't.
virtue of where you put it.
But
Yeah.
right, because you've made a box around it and you put it in the corner.
Do we label that irrelevant?
No, because to them it's relevant.
Yeah.
So, but,
Parking lot.
yeah, exactly. So, the other thing is you want to create a kind of sense of shared understanding. So, you want everybody in the group to feel like they are part of this group. So you do that by just constantly kind of engaging each person, but they may need to be engaged in a different way. Like you, sir, need to be controlled, but others may need to be encouraged. So you need to be constantly aware of that. Keep track of all the comments and just be a really good listener. So you put aside your own opinions, you reflect back if someone makes a comment, and you're not sure you understood it. Say it in different words and say, is that it? Is that what you meant? And I'll have them confirm or not.
Excuse me.
By paraphrasing. And then making sure you check your perceptions. If you think by any chance you're a little bit off, make sure you show that person that respect, that, well, let me make sure I understood. And then ask open-ended questions. So if you ask a question and you don't really understand what someone is saying, just ask a follow-up question to clarify. And use your body language. Use making sure you have eye contact, making sure you keep this guy under control. So you start by introductions. Okay, 15 minutes. Or you go around the room. First you're going to introduce yourselves. You'll have a script. You introduce yourself. My name is, I'm your facilitator. And then you ask everyone to go around and introduce themselves. But they're only to say their name and how long they've lived here. And the reason for that is sometimes people will go on, and we've got so much to talk about, we can't have them doing that, even though we'd love to know more about them. But the thing is, a lot of times people will say, oh, I know why he said that. I bet he's a newcomer. Well, let's just get that out in the open. You're a newcomer, and that means you have new ideas. And you're an old-timer. That means
These
you
are like
have
old ideas.
well, but also it means you have institutional memory that would be useful and valuable. So let's, acknowledge that and say, in this
All
group, it
these
looks
things make
like,
sense.
yeah, and it looks like we've got people who've lived here 6 months and 60 years. Wow, isn't that great? Then we have ground rules for participation, and you read those out loud. And no, that's not like kindergarten, some people say. It's because if you do that, the rules being considerate of others, talking in headlines, there's no such thing as a bad idea, and respecting other people's opinions. If somebody says, wow, that's a really bad idea, someone else in the group is going to say, hey, that's against the rules.
Right.
It's not just you being the one. That's one way of sharing the responsibility. So if you read those out loud, someone is bound to help you out in a situation where someone goes outside of the bounds. Now, depending on the turnout, we don't know. We'll never know until 12 o'clock how many people will be there. So it'll either be that there'll be 2 people, one person facilitating, the other person scribing, or if we have a huge turnout, then there'll be one of you that will be a facilitator. So you're going to ask for a scribe. You're going to ask for a volunteer to help you scribe. So you'll ask for 3 volunteers. One is, if there's only one of you there, right? Who's going to help me by taking notes? Who's going to help me by keeping time? And who's going to help me by reporting back? So we'll talk about report back in a minute, but if no one, usually you can get the timekeeper and the scribe easily, and the report back sometimes is not as easy to get. If no one wants to, then it's you. Then you're the report back person. But if someone would like to, then you can help them do that.
And what's the report back?
So the report back is, I'll tell you specifically, but what it is to summarize what was said.
I'm just confused between what would the difference between the note taker and the report back.
So the it's just sharing the responsibility, right? So one person is taking the notes and another person might report back. It could be the note taker, or it could be you.
So to the whole group.
Exactly.
So they'll have to stand up and speak as opposed to just take.
Yeah, exactly.
Some
So some
people are
people are
comfortable.
comfortable, then they'll say, oh yeah, sure, I'll take notes. Oh, you want me to speak in front of everybody? Oh, no, I won't take notes then. You see what I mean? If they want to do both, great. But it's just a matter of sharing the responsibility and giving people different roles if they want them.
So the report back takes their own notes, so it's only, in essence, 2 people taking notes.
Yeah, they usually do take their own notes, although sometimes they just use the large pads. If I'm ever the report back, I take my own notes, but Okay, so we'll keep the track of the conversation on this line. And this is all written out for you, so don't worry about it. There'll be big flip pads. And then we'll have the discussion, which will be 60 minutes. So that's approximately 10 minutes per question, but there are three reasons why it's not equal across the questions. So one is that your group may have particular interest in one question. And if you see that, if you see enthusiasm, let them go a little longer, but just know that means you have to cut back on the next question. A second reason why is that there are some questions that are go around the table questions, meaning you, sir, you, ma'am, you, all the way around, giving a chance. The others that are brainstorm questions, which is whoever wants to say something. Those tend to take less time, right? So if you have go around the table questions, they take the full 10 minutes. They might take 12, but then you'll do 8 on the next. So the 10, when you have your timekeeper, you'll just tell your timekeeper to give you the 10-minute. So you'll know, okay, I'm going to go over now, but I'm going to come back later. But you'll know that you just want that rhythm of the 10 minutes. Yes?
So if we're looking at 100 people, are you thinking 10 groups of 10?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So the first question is a go around the table question. And before I start this, I know that a lot of you sent in questions, or actually I don't know how many of you. It could be 2 people that sent a lot of questions. I just received a lot of questions. And I wanted to say that those questions were really good. However, for the most part, they're for later stages of the process. Once we have a vision and set of goals, then you want to dig deeper into those topic areas. So right now, the point of this session is to come out with a vision that's shared and based on shared values and priorities and a set of goals. After that, you then start talking about specifics. You start talking about geographic areas, you start talking about topic areas, housing, open space, transportation, economic development, and then even more specifics about how to achieve things. But at this point, even though you did the survey, which did achieve some of that, we want to step back and we want to do a more broad brush, because first of all, not everyone took the survey. And second of all, when people take a survey alone at their desk at night or alone in the kitchen, they're just in their head, right? At this session, they get to hear what other people have to say. It broadens their view. They piggyback on other people's ideas.
They may change their mind.
And they may change their mind. They may change their priorities because they may not have thought of something. So we need to do that because the more virtual we become, the more human we realize we are. And the more we need face-to-face, and we need that live interaction. So even though we have this great resource of online survey and online everything, we really need to do that if we're going to be a real community. So I just wanted to say that. Didn't want anyone to feel like their questions were being ignored, because they're not. And they need to be saved for the next stage. So we're going to start with what are your favorite things about Westwood? In other words, what do you like most about living here? What do you want to be sure is preserved in the future? So you have kind of, the main question is what are your favorite things? And then you have these subsequent prompts. After everyone has said what they are, then each person will be given 5 dots. And with those dots, they're to prioritize. And please don't say vote. Some people say vote. With the dots, it's not voting, because we're not guaranteeing anyone that this is what's going to happen, or what, this is not the favorite of all people. It's not a vote. It's what are the priorities of the people in your group. So each person gets 5 dots, and they're allowed to use up to 3 on any one item. So in other words, all the favorite things of your group are listed. Each person gets up, and they say, of these, which are my most favorite? They get 5. They can use 3 on one item and say, Hale Reservation is my absolute favorite. Then they only have 2 more. All this is written down, so don't worry. And we'll go over it again the day of. The next one is, again, go around the table, your least favorite. Same exact exercise. And we might have a map at the table for that. And we'll have Post-it notes so that some least favorite things may have geographic specificity. So someone might say the least favorite thing for me is, this intersection or whatever it is. Let them say that even though it's not really a visioning or goal level, but that might feed into something that we might find a pattern, that there's lots of, discussion around, let's say, intersections. I don't know. I drove around a lot to get these tonight, and I did encounter some interesting intersections. I think that's why it's on my mind. I was wondering why I said that.
Are you anticipating that your favorite
I
thing
know
is
which one.
physical, something physical?
No, it most usually is, but it doesn't have to be. A lot of times people will say the people, my neighbors, the town character, the
Right.
small town feeling. No, it doesn't have to be. But having a map allows for the physical identification. Do you want to say?
No, I just agree. I mean, people may be trying to describe something and it's not clear to everybody at the table, but if you can point it out on the map. So the
Right.
map needs to have a few landmarks on it because,
So they can find their way.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
remarkable to me. Like, when we deal with maps all the time, we think, oh, everybody can read these, right? No, so we have to think
Yeah.
about the composition of
Yeah,
that map.
Yeah, and someone might say, oh, I love going to this place over here. Well, I've never been there. Where is that? So it's just helpful for the conversation. So the third question, what's missing in Westwood?
Do we have these questions in the packet?
Unfortunately, no,
Okay.
but you will be receiving this.
And there's 6 of them, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
You will get this tonight
Okay.
in your email.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I was just looking for it, and I didn't want to look anymore.
Oh, don't look anymore. Don't look
Okay,
anymore.
thank you.
It's for naught. Okay.
What's missing in Westwood?
Thank you.
Fourth question. What would you predict will be some of the important issues to take into account for planning for Westwood's future? So when you do this one, you make a little matrix. So you say, okay, what are the issues that we need to take into account in the future? There are opportunities and there are challenges. And then for the opportunities, how do we take advantage of these opportunities? For the challenges, how should these be addressed? So you just draw, on the sheet, you draw a big box with a cross in the middle, opportunities, challenges, how do we take advantage of the opportunities? How do we address the challenges? So if someone says, there's an opportunity, I don't know, what's an opportunity coming up? Well, let's do a challenge. Climate change. So how do we address that? Okay, well, here are some ideas. So you go, across to the other box, right? 5, if you could do one thing to improve Westwood, what would it be? That's a go around the table. The previous was a brainstorm. So everyone gets a chance if they could do one thing. If they could be king or queen for the day, what would they do? And then they're given 5 dots, once again, to prioritize that one thing. So it's a double prioritization process. It's, if I could do one thing, now I get to see everybody's one thing,
right.
and now I'm prioritizing the priorities. So that really helps to bring things up to the top level. And then, because in the survey, many of the questions, if you look at the responses, they really had something to do with the town character, the preservation of town character. And that's not unusual, especially in very nice places. What is difficult is people use that, or say, preserve open space, preserve historic. Well, what exactly about the town character do you want to preserve? What exactly is this town character? How do we define it? What are its features? So that even if we're going to be talking about designing new buildings, let's just use a building for example, what are the features you want included there? What is this kind of very vague and just a feeling? How do we describe it? So on the back of the agenda, if you look at your agenda, the one with the gray box that described the PowerPoint, on the back, there are 3 questions. The first is the special place that we talked about last time. That's mirroring what happened in the 2000 comprehensive plan to see what are people's favorite places now. The second is what makes Westwood unique. That's trying to get at this squishy feeling. And then what else makes it unique? And then how would you define the town character? All three of those are really about the town character in different ways. And sometimes you see people get very general and vague, and sometimes people get very specific about what it is. And it's very helpful to see those responses. Even though these questions seem very vague, people can really be very helpful about what it means to them. And then we can see what does it mean to most people, and then we can try to translate that into planning and architecture and urban design terms. So the thought is that the last question is 6, which is fill out in writing the back of this, and then we have a sticky wall, and people go up and just push this onto the wall and spend a couple of minutes seeing what everybody else wrote. And then that's the end of the small group discussion. Now, the report back person could be you, could be the note taker, could be a third person. What we want from them is only 3 things. We want the top 3 responses for the 3 questions that had dots, which are, what are the favorite things? So we've got favorite things, top 3. Least favorite, top 3. If you could do one thing to improve Westwood, top 3. That's it. We don't want to hear any more about what was said at the group.
And it needs to be that
And it has
structured.
to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
People will tell a
some
story.
people will go on and say, and remember what you said? And I really liked it when you said that. And you know, my brother, when he lived here, but he moved away, and he lives in Florida now, and I wish I was there right now.
It's true.
It's so true.
It's true.
So you got to keep people to,
Focus.
that's it. And so it's those 3 things, and it's boom, boom, boom. And it doesn't mean, everything's going to be documented, and we're going to pour through it. We're going to swim in it. We're going to immerse ourselves in it. But for the report back, it has to be that.
So the report out's actually fairly easy because it's already written.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Exactly.
that
Do
would
you
make
want
it
this
simple.
all on one sheet, or do you
So
want to use Post-its for each
one
question?
thing is we were thinking of cutting them, into 3.
Okay.
But is this environmentally, it's the back of the agenda, and it's
Okay.
environmentally
Whatever you-
more.
that's-
So it's,
Just
just
if you
think
change
about
your
it.
mind,
Yeah,
let me
okay. So then it would be up to the note taker, and if the note taker can't, it would be up to you to write up exactly what is on those large sheets. So just, whatever is there and how many dots there are. Not just the top dots, all of them, right? You just count them up. And so, and in about a week, if you could send them back to us. And it shouldn't be a lot because they're just the 5 questions and then this, right, which goes up there.
Yep.
So, any comments or questions before we go to the next?
Do you really think that we'll have time to get them all in?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, this works, yeah.
But you've got to do that, you've got to have the timekeeper, and we'll also be, prodding you along and saying, well, this guy's group over here is ahead. You got to catch up,
Was this last one, because I'm asking this question because I have an idea in my head. Is it important that these last 3 follow the discussion?
Oh, tell me your idea. Because it's
What-
not necessarily, no.
What if you had each of these on a big wall in the room,
Uh-huh.
and then people wrote on their sticky notes what defines the character, and they wrote, it looks, whatever it is, it's beautiful, I love whatever.
Right.
And they post it, and they go and post it up, so they might have 2 or 3
That was why I asked this question.
posts
yeah.
right up on the, and then you can just take them, you'll have them all in those sections.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought it might be one way to do it.
Wait,
and
so, but you're saying not at the not at the end?
have it up there for the whole time.
Oh, for the whole time.
And this would give people, and if they have a thought
Yeah.
throughout their discussion, or
Yeah.
after, or right in the beginning,
That's not a bad
they could
idea at
post
all.
them up there, and leave a little more time for the other
For the
questions.
other questions. So as it occurs to them, and then at the end, we say, if you haven't done this yet,
Right.
Do it
then
now.
please
Go
do
up
it.
and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anybody disagree with that?
No, the only comment that I would make is, we're asking them a lot to do in terms of like thinking, and some people need extra time.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they might say, oh, I really wish I had included that
Right.
in my response. So I'm thinking, how do you capture that? Because people may walk out and say,
Good point.
this is really, I didn't say this, but this is what I meant. Whatever it might be, but it's something that they want to contribute perhaps
So,
afterwards.
so you should write it on the notes and then keep it in the notes. The thing about that is that if it was one of the things that was to be prioritized, it wasn't part of that, right?
Right.
So if it was one, let's say whatever your
Yeah.
favorite things, it didn't get an opportunity to be part of that. So you just, note that.
Are you
So-
asking more of a follow-up when I get home?
Yeah,
I think of something, can I email that in?
More of that,
Oh,
like,
sure.
I really, I didn't know how to answer that question. Oh my goodness, now.
I'm
I
sure we always
definitely-
have like
Yeah.
additional
That
comments.
your spouse said, why didn't you say that? That's
Right,
what-
right.
That's exactly,
Never
that,
happened.
that's right, never happened.
So one thing, yeah.
Didn't you tell them?
So one thing we could do is have like an easel with a pad where we just say additional comments. And people can just, it's also for people who don't feel comfortable saying it in front of a
Well,
group.
that was part of this too, so if I think that the library makes Westwood unique, but I didn't feel comfortable saying that out in my group, I don't have a problem writing it on a sticky,
Oh, but see,
sticking it
that's,
up there.
this is not to be discussed. No, this is all written.
So they just do it themselves,
Yes, this
so either
is-
way.
Yeah,
All
this
right.
is,
Okay.
and that's exactly why, because I didn't want you criticizing my
Right.
feelings of what's unique.
Yes.
I want it to be, feel free to say it. So
So-
this is in
Okay.
writing, yeah.
So I'm a little confused. So you want the facilitator to keep all the results and turn them in?
To keep all the results of the first 5 questions.
Yeah.
But this written, it goes up on the wall
For one wall for the whole place?
for the whole place.
All right, so you don't know which,
So you don't know who said what and
Yeah.
what group said what. It doesn't matter.
that's
Yeah,
important. Okay,
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. But we still haven't clarified whether we're doing it
As a sticky or
sticky.
as a sheet. I
Right.
don't know, I might do it as a sticky only because I might not have answers to the others and might just want 1 or 2 words. It's just my thought.
So, but also what you were saying about having it done throughout.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that idea. So does anyone disagree with that?
As long as it's not distracting from the first 5
Right,
questions.
right. That's the thing.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, you can do it ahead of time.
So maybe it's like starting, people come in, if they come in at 11:30, they can do it
Yep.
until 12, and then they can do it at the end. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, and if your group finishes early while the
Right.
others are still
Exactly.
doing it, you can
Then
go
you
up
can go
there,
up.
but we want everybody to.
Right.
And then at the end, you just write them and keep them with you, and on your way out, you can
You
stick them
just
up.
stick them up. Okay. Does that work for people?
Yeah, and I have a question. How are you breaking people up into the groups?
Right, so we've done different ways to be really systematic about making sure that husbands and wives don't stick together and, people with single agendas. But it's a lot of effort. So what it would be great was if all of us together if we see people walking in together or when they're sitting together, we'll just say, why don't you please go here and you please go there? And we'll just try to make them equally divided. Do you feel strongly about making it more systematic?
Yes.
You do.
Are you doing name tags? Are we doing name
Yes.
tags? So that you put a little dot on their name tag.
How about numbers?
Or you just-
Or numbers.
1
Yeah.
to 10.
Yep.
10,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
All the
Yeah,
ones,
done that
all the
too.
twos.
Yeah.
Simple.
And the
We could
numbers.
do that on the
Together, you're 1,
agendas
you're 2,
too.
you're 3.
Yep.
It
No,
never
they're not
ceases
together.
to amaze me how people
Get around it.
know that that's what you're doing, and they just go where they want anyway. It's fascinating to me how people are so willing to break the rules,
Yes,
but,
yeah, yeah.
I mean.
And for what, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but
what's
the numbers, the dots, anything that would distinguish them so people know where to go.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a good idea.
So, do you think we should do the numbers?
I think it makes sense.
I like the numbers.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
think
Just it randomizes it a
Yes,
little bit.
Okay.
it's like, yeah, we're not telling you you can't sit with your
Hey,
spouse,
I
but
don't-
guess what? You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Right.
let's do
Yeah.
that.
I mean, you
Okay.
can put it in a bowl, and when you
Good.
come in, you pick a number. And there's a number on the table, and that's where you really gotta go
For
and
that
sit.
event. Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
Easy
definitely.
enough, right.
It's- Yeah,
If
that
they
would be
still have
great.
100
Okay, so
in
let's do.
there, and
Maybe there's a way to make it fun.
So they're going to come in, they're going to be doing, we're going to be speaking to them for a half hour.
So one conversation at a time, please.
Yeah, and so they're going to be coming in and they'll be, I assume they'll be eating and they'll be sitting at a table
Right.
when you go to do this. And then you're going to count off at that point, and then everybody's going to get up and then change
So
tables.
Judy and I were just saying, Judy was suggesting to do name tags with printed numbers on them. So people, may not even notice the number. They're having lunch, and then
That
we
would be
say,
fine.
oh.
if you've got a 10,
if
you
got
go
it.
over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would save some
Colored
time.
dots too.
Yeah, there's different ways to do it, I mean, it's,
The problem is you don't know how many people you're gonna get.
Well, that's true. That is the
That
problem.
That's, yeah.
And that, because
You
we've
make
done
the
with
name
colored
tag on the
agendas
spot?
too.
Are you making the name tag on the spot when they get there?
They will fill out their name,
Okay.
We're
right?
gonna have name
And then-
tags with the logo on it and everything, and there'll just be a space for them to put their name.
And on it will be a number.
Yes.
And on it will be a number.
Yeah, we can make that ahead of time.
But like you said, we don't know how many, but we just have to, and then we just have to be flexible.
Yeah, I mean, if it ends up that there are only like 3 number 10s, you just have them go to another table. I mean,
Exactly.
it's just, you kind of have to on the fly sort of figure out how to
Right.
solve that math problem.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's do numbers.
The committee can decide, but I think it's a good idea.
I like that.
No, it seems like everyone
Yeah,
agrees. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then, any other comments or questions on the format, on the questions, on the way?
So when we originally did this, for the original plan, I remember, I was not a facilitator. They just told me to attend and not open my mouth at all, not
Oh, I
say
see.
a word, because they didn't want me to influence anybody.
Yeah, the
So this
rules
time,
follow.
we are facilitators, but, yeah,
But
only
again,
facilitate.
the mouth is to be controlled,
Yeah,
Yeah.
not necessarily yours, everyone's, in terms of giving your own opinions. So it's really about just managing the conversation, making sure everyone has a turn, not showing how you feel about somebody else's opinion. And one thing that is kind of important is that when you're controlling your words, and even you're aware that you're trying to be curious, your body can talk too.
Oh, yeah.
So if you do this, it actually sends a message, but it also actually has been shown to affect your receptiveness. So if you literally do this, you're more open to listening. And it really, I mean,
I sit here and do this, it's late, I can't help it.
so just to be aware.
And I mean, you're all members of the committee, so you have plenty of opportunity to
Exactly.
provide your input
Exactly.
into what we're talking about. So you really don't need
Right.
that particular.
And this is not the place for it, right?
So you have more fun by trying to encourage others to.
Yeah, it's about making that space safe, feel safe and comfortable for everybody, and to get through a certain amount of discussion. I mean, that's really what the job is, and so if you have that kind of mindset, you can get through it.
And like you said, to get through it, because we want to be able to have the same information from all the groups. Otherwise, how can we say that we've identified shared values
Right.
if group number 3 only got 3 questions? So it's really important to keep that in mind, that the purpose of this is to come out with meaningful, useful information that will help us to craft the vision and to articulate the goals that the rest of the plan is based on. So it's really important, that you do keep on top of it and make sure you get to the end. And we'll help you to do that. And there's another thing, if someone is really, being very difficult, just, look
Look at us, say-
and, yeah. You don't have to, that might be a little too obvious.
Yeah.
But
Excuse
just,
me.
ask for help in some way, just kind of.
Because we'll be there, I mean, we'll be wandering around, keeping an eye on
Barbara?
things.
Could it be one timekeeper instead of one at each table? To that point, like you want to get through the discussion, can there be one person saying, you should be on question 2 by now?
So what we usually do is we go around and we see where everyone is, and then we'll do like the, quarter. Because as I said, your group might just be really enthusiastic about the second question.
Right.
So that's why you have your own rhythm, but then we'll give you, okay, you're halfway done now. You should be halfway done. Are you? If not, you better hurry up. We won't wait till the end. But are you thinking you'd prefer to just have it be
No,
like a
it's-
little?
I just was thinking that if everyone knew, this is the pace that we
Right.
want, we have 60 minutes.
Right.
And
This is the
pace.
10-minute.
Yes, and if people are still on question 1, when they should be on question 3.
Well, you know what? I have a little whistle. It's like a Peruvian, mountain Andes.
He's gonna bring my cowbell.
Well, you can always go back, you can say, all right, we're gonna go to 3, why don't we come back to 2, but let's get 3, 4, and 5 done, and then we can come back to 2, and if you get back there.
That's true, that's true.
Great, and if you don't, at least you got the other ones in there.
But we can try to do that.
When you were talking about a note taker, are you talking about the person who's writing on that flip chart?
Yes.
Okay, so there's not notes aside
No.
from that?
So the ideal would be that there would be 2 people from all of us here at each table. But it all depends on how many people come.
Right.
Now, it's more ideal that we have more people, right? In which case, then we ask of the group to help
Who's
out.
comfortable doing
So- And the person, it's more important that one of you be a facilitator than be a note taker. But if you see, I mean, I've had this happen to me, where the note taker, you know, someone says a whole paragraph and the note taker writes library. You just missed the whole point. So then repeat what you wish them to write to kind of encourage them to make sure that it is written down. So it is very important that it's not just one-word answers, you know.
Something I would probably suggest in my timekeeper is to say it like 9 minutes. 9 minutes, we have another minute to go. So
That's a
people
good
have
idea.
warning.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, give a warning.
Give them till 10, they're gonna go to 11.
They're gonna go to 11,
and then
yeah.
It
Yeah.
accumulates and all of a sudden you haven't got, yeah.
You know, and then if you feel it's important enough to kind of add an extra minute, then you kind of adjust. But
But you make that
I think that's
decision
nice
with
to
the-
say, respect, it's 9.
It's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
We have a minute left, you know, people know.
9-minute warning. Good idea.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So we want good note takers.
Yes,
Really more than the scribe, we want a good note taker.
we do.
So
So, you know, and
it's either another one of us or someone maybe we already know we can count on.
actually, I mean, if you see someone, you can identify someone that you know you count on, that's the best. But
People don't usually volunteer who aren't good note takers, don't you think?
actually, I think
That's
that is
very
true.
Yeah.
Because if you volunteer, it's because you like it.
You have some
Right.
And if you
pride.
like it, it's because you're probably good at it.
Pretty good.
Yeah. But to your point, I think you do have to make sure that you do keep an eye on them. It's not, you know, sometimes I've even seen them, they're not listening, you know, you gotta just be, because it
But are they
is
standing at the notepad?
standing at the notepad.
It's
Easy
like
to
an
notice.
easel, right?
Yes, on
Yeah.
an easel,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's your group, so it's your responsibility, you know what I mean? So the timekeeper's your responsibility, the scribe is your responsibility, the group feeling like a group, making sure everybody at the group feels respected, comfortable, it's your responsibility. That you share, but you're the manager. So, anything else on that before we go to outreach?
Yeah. Anybody have any questions or comments, rather? All right, let's do it. Outreach?
Let's do it. Okay, first of all, Abby has started a social media campaign. How's that going, Abby?
We have 4 people that have done the special place.
I don't think that's called viral yet.
Yes, we have 2 committee members, myself, and then one other person. Do we need some more special place photos?
So, can all of you try this weekend? I don't know, what's the weather gonna be like? Does somebody know?
I heard rain.
You heard what?
I don't know, I heard rain.
Oh,
Sunday is rain.
It's been hard to get pictures for any project I'm working on.
today was
Oh,
beautiful, but, you know, who could go out? So, I mean, even the old photos you might have, right?
Yeah.
Because
A
basically,
winter photo, follow us with a winter photo.
Sunday's gonna rain, Saturday sunny and a little bit of cloudiness.
yeah, cloudy's
Saturday's okay.
atmospheric, right?
I hope
So-
it's not sunny on the 18th, because no
Because
one
no
will
one will
come.
come.
Yes.
After all this
A
rain.
month of rain.
So to remind everybody what that is, the special place, on the back of the agenda is the definition, right? It's to identify those places in town that define Westwood as a unique and special place. These could include outstanding views or landscapes, sites or buildings of historic value, or essential places in the community's life. These are places that give form to residents' internal images of community, are identified with cherished rituals, or contribute subconsciously to everyday life. So it really could be anything, anything that you love. So,
So
see if-
I'm gonna be honest here, right? So I got a picture up, but I had to get my staff member to help me, because I'm like, I don't know the hashtag on the Facebook, on my page, to get it on the town page. So
It worked,
I
though.
think, yes, I couldn't have done it myself though. And I don't know
I
if
sent it-
anybody else
I
is.
sent my
is
picture
this-
to Abby.
Yeah, so that, oh, good,
You'll be able to do it.
I had no idea. I started doing
Maybe,
it.
right?
Yes.
That's, so I think we need.
So glad for your honesty.
1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, or send it to
Okay.
you, because I
Yep,
really
you
did
can send it to
struggle, and
me.
I got one
Okay.
of my staff members, I'm like, get over here and post this
Well,
for
you're
me, 'cause
courageous
I
with your
don't know how to
honesty, and I
do
bet
that.
other people feel that way, so that's good.
That might be
That might be an
why
obstacle.
it's only
Yeah.
a few of us up there.
Okay.
So Abby, is it all right if people send it to you?
Yes, definitely. Yep,
And-
John did and
And,
someone else
and
did
then
too.
if you want to say why, like why is it a special place? You know, a few words.
Right, so I expect Steve will send one probably from the train station? Is that your favorite place? Standing on the platform, waiting for the train, probably?
Maybe not your second favorite.
Picture of Wegmans.
I
On
was
the
going to say.
sidewalk?
If I lived here, that would be my favorite place.
Well, you have 144 likes on it, or people following it. I was
That's
just
good.
looking at it,
That's
I
good.
just
Really?
wanted to make sure it had a shared link on it, because as I
Yeah.
get it, I can share it.
Right.
Right, I
That's
think
what
it's.
people should do at Facebook, as you see
Exactly.
something.
Again, I have trouble.
Just keep sharing, you know, like.
Is everyone listening to
Linda.
Linda? Linda said something really important right now. Linda, you want to repeat
I
it?
said to, as, you know, first of all, get on the page if you're not. And if you're on Facebook, just as things come out, share them on your page, and your friends see them, and then they're gonna hopefully share them, and that's how things go viral, that's how words get out.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I see things now, I'll continue to just share it.
And then if you could also share the request for special place postings, right?
Yeah, that's what I was looking, so I'm on the town of Westwood
Pages of
Planning
Westwood
Board page, but, wait a minute. Visioning session public forum. So you kind of have to go on that too.
Yeah. I've been trying to link it to both, the special places,
Yeah.
and then I've been kind of putting it, trying to go to planning board and the event, calendar event.
I mean, right now, 40 people say they're interested in going,
Yay.
so.
And 2 people said they were going.
Yeah.
One was me.
That was probably the
That's
other
so
one, yeah.
funny.
Oh dear.
Just kind of give it, you know, it's a powerful
Oh, okay,
tool.
interesting.
I
Well,
think
now I'm gonna go. Well, I
Okay,
think I
thank
got
you.
it.
All right.
So if everyone could do that, take a moment, think of your special place, send it to Abby, and a couple of words as to why, and do what Linda said and share as much as you can the request for special places, but also the ones that are posted.
Oh,
And you can go and invite people to join the page, so you can
That's right.
click on it, and then like share a message or invite to join, so you can go through your friends list and, you know, just hit send for every Westwood resident you have on there.
Which would be wonderful.
share. Oh my God, I think I'm sharing to everybody here.
Thank you, yep.
It's
Okay,
okay,
it's
doesn't
okay.
matter.
No, no,
It'll show
like
up on
I mean,
aunts
it's
and
not-
uncles in Florida.
It's all right.
Title of the page? Sorry.
Westwood Planning Board.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that
and
what it
then
is?
there's a
All right,
visioning
there it is.
session under that,
And
right,
then,
Abby?
and then there's visioning session event, and it has a picture of Buckmaster Pond.
So Town of Westwood Planning Board, and then it says posted in visioning session public forum.
oh, I get the invites here. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, I see it
I
now.
gotta find everyone from Westwood.
Oh, there it
So
you can,
take a
like-
minute. We have a minute. Take a minute.
is. 39 people are interested.
Well, you got 39. She had 44.
This says 39.
People, did they
For the visioning
uninterest
session?
themselves?
I have no idea. 39 people interested.
I think I should.
I need more Westwood friends.
I'll say I'm interested, and that'll make it 40.
Oh dear.
It's fun.
I have
Okay.
42.
We just
Okay.
alienated
Let's
2
move.
people.
So, next is the flyer, which we will update tomorrow,
Yep.
Okay,
and just to add about the raffle.
all right, thank you.
And then send it to Abby, and then Abby, you can send it to everyone?
Yes.
And then if everyone can think about, your assignment last time was to write down your contacts. Do you have groups of people that you email regularly? You know, whether that be a committee, a club, a group of friends, a group of relatives, a group of neighbors. And then individuals that you think would be definitely interested and or important for them to attend, organizations, agencies. So just think about all those, and then you'll have this electronic flyer to just keep sending all week long.
Yeah, somebody already invited David Atkins.
Yes, I think he's the second person that's going.
So we'll just say that, you know, all,
I'll have you, I'll have her send it to you.
Okay, perfect.
On the survey, I noticed that, I didn't notice it when I was taking it, but there, the two bottom categories, I'm a non-resident business owner, I'm a non-resident property owner. There was no category of I'm a resident business owner, I guess, but I guess if you're a resident and happen to be a business owner, you'd be in one of the four
One of
areas.
those, right.
But was there any special outreach done to any business owners in town to invite them to come to this visioning, or can there be?
Yes, I've been sending pretty much the survey originally, and then since then, in my email, just all the business owner contacts that I have. We have a good amount because of doing projects through planning board and then also through licensing. I mean, it's not an all-extensive list by any means, so if anyone else can think of anyone else specifically. But I had good amount of contacts, mostly from through our like, food establishment and restaurant licenses. So I had some of those emails.
So maybe they'll show up as well.
So then there are the hard copies that Abby has to give out.
The flyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a stack of couple hundred over there if people want to take some on the way
okay.
out. So it doesn't have the raffle on it, but
But we can still, you know,
we'll keep
get those
working on
out
those
and then,
ones. So if everyone takes some when you leave, we put them around at, on this list here of places I could think of. You know, a couple places, I think it was, we visited and they didn't want to have any flyers. So not every place will want to post a flyer, but if you could take some and distribute wherever you might be going, that might be, you know, any local businesses or churches or anything
They're
like
also
that.
good to put in your back windows if you drive like a van or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're
Ooh.
really
Good
Ooh.
idea, you're smart, that's a
Ooh.
cool idea.
huh,
Just put it in your back windows, as long as they don't block your,
your view.
yeah.
And then maybe on Monday, if people want the new flyer, if they give all their flyers on the weekend, right? You'll have.
Oh,
All 200.
sure.
Do any of the subdivisions in town have like a resident board or anything within them? I don't know. But those are
I
always
think
good.
Chase Estates
Yeah,
does.
because that was the first one,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like a Chase
Okay.
Estates and, you know, put it in there.
And probably, Far Beach Road, what's that, that neighborhood
Right.
too.
Neighborhood
Right.
associations.
High Ridge has
Whatever
an
it is.
association too.
Maybe Stevens Farm does too.
Yeah, I don't know about that,
I
but
don't
I'm
know.
pretty sure High Ridge does.
And Fox,
Fox Meadow.
Meadow, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I think I
who
have
wants to take that
those.
on? Those subdivisions.
I think I have a contact for the Fox Meadow
They were before the planning
president
board.
there. Yeah, because that was recently, and that street was accepted. So I do have, I forget his name, but I have that contact. So I can.
I know the guy at Chase Estates,
Yep.
not by name, but I know how to get his name.
Okay. Was that
So,
David?
yeah, it might be David.
David. Yep.
What's
Okay. I
his
have.
last name?
War.
Warshaw.
Yes.
Okay.
I yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's pretty
yeah, that's right,
pretty
I
much
think
a
he's,
rah-rah
yeah.
for his cause in the neighborhood, so I bet he has a whole list of things.
They
that-
probably even have like community emails. I know we
They-
used
he
to have one
does.
in my neighborhood. It's kind of
Yes.
died off now, but.
Yeah.
There's a Maze Facebook page.
Oh.
You can post it on there. You have to be invited.
Yeah, there's an e-democracy one.
They didn't want to accept me, I had to have somebody else
Recommend you.
recommend me. I've lived here longer than you have.
Somebody with a mustache would be
No.
disguised.
It's a woman.
So we also, from last time, if you looked, we developed a community engagement plan from last time, our discussion. So the first pages are just more general, but if you look, let's say starting page 7, we talked about town elections, town meetings. Oh, so Abby, you went to town meeting and gave out flyers, right?
Yes, so we handed out maybe about 100 flyers at town meeting.
So that's great.
It was a slide that was shown to the whole group, although Jim went past it pretty quickly.
Oh. And then on page 9, this is what Abby has been up to in terms of postings and in terms of flyers. And then on page 10, those are some of the things that you had mentioned last time about civic organizations, other institutions. Are there any here, like, for example, somebody mentioned church youth groups or coaches, athletic coaches? Are there any that you know personally that you would, just to think about? Westwood Young Women's Group.
I did have them posted in the First Parish Church bulletin.
Okay,
Thank you.
yes. Well, everything counts.
Can we use the recreation center, the Westwood Recreation Department emailing list?
Yes. I sent it to them. I know they hung up some flyers around the pool and the locker room, and I asked them to. I think they posted it on their Facebook. I don't know if they have a separate email notification.
I think they do.
All right.
I think we
I
have
can
lists.
check with them. Okay.
About the district bulletin.
It went in there.
Okay.
I know it was last week, and I had asked for it to be again
Yeah,
yesterday.
I
Did
saw
you
it
see it
come
there
out, I
yesterday?
didn't know
Okay,
that,
great.
So, yeah,
Okay.
the wire. We talked about the schools already, too, right? Is that, you mean? Yeah, well, the school bulletin
you're
is,
talking
yeah, the
about?
district
Oh, okay.
school bulletin.
And also, someone mentioned last time the PTAs.
I had sent it to all the principals asking to send it out to the PTO organizations.
Right.
A couple of them had email addresses that I was able to
To-
send to.
Uh-huh. And the
So I
others
did
you
that
asked
this
them
week.
to
I asked them to. I don't
to
know if it
actually
went out to
happened.
everyone, but I
Yeah.
did ask them, I think on Monday.
Okay. And then cable TV, are they able to be at the event?
Yes, they reviewed it.
And then Westwood Wire?
Yes, we've done one so far, and I was planning to try to do one out on Monday, I was thinking,
Perfect. And with the new flyer?
with a new flyer, yeah.
Right. And then the website, it's been updated. Now what about like Next Door Islington? Is anybody on that? That social media site, Next Door?
I get it.
You get it?
I'll post it.
Okay.
Thank you.
E-Democracy? I'm
Yeah,
not
that one I.
That's
I-
you?
Yeah, I
Okay.
know that one.
Mm,
I could do a robocall.
Yeah.
We usually do that the day before we've had luck, so we'll probably do that on Friday.
On
We'll
Friday.
get that scheduled for Friday.
And then what about the signage? How?
We have the community bulletin board out front of town hall here. We have it on there, and then we have 2 sandwich board signs that like.
And you were able
down
to
the
do that
street.
because you
Yep.
were having?
Yep. So that was done, I think, yesterday when.
Okay.
So it's-
And then someone had mentioned lawn signs, that they wanted to make some and
Not bad,
put them on their own lawns. I don't know how far that got.
I don't think we've done that.
No. Grocery stores, community center, town hall, library.
Yep, we've done those.
Oh, and then we
Okay.
had also talked about how some communities use reverse 911 only for emergencies, and others use it for more general.
Yes, that's what we'll do for the Friday
the
call.
robocall,
Yep, the
right,
robocall.
the
So that'll
robocall.
go out to everyone on Friday.
Coffee shops,
We've
CVS.
We've done BB's Cafe, Starbucks, the Toast Office. What else do we have? I think those are the.
And anybody belong to a house of worship and they could bring it to their house of worship.
I can do that.
Okay.
It's already in the bulletin anyway.
Okay.
And
But
goes out
but
in the
every
email too.
every way of,
Right.
gets different people. So any other thoughts you have, just do it. Whether it's electronic or hard copy. And then there's the last, which is making the phone calls. So before we talk about the phone calls, sometimes steering committee members will say, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, I feel a little bit awkward calling my neighbors or my friends or my relatives like I'm asking a favor of them. I just wanted to emphasize, you're not asking a favor, what you're actually doing is providing them an opportunity. You're giving them an opportunity to help shape the future of their town. And you're creating this with your time, your thoughts, and your energy. And it's actually a gift, it's not a favor. So I really feel like strongly about that, and so when you make your phone calls, you need to be behaving that way. You're offering people a gift. You're spending all this time, and you're inviting them. You're spending a year of your life, you know, in your volunteer time. So it's a big commitment for a pretty important endeavor. So you're giving them this invitation to be part of it, and you are making a personal effort to do so. So that's actually a big deal. So if you could make enough calls to get 5 people to say they're coming, that would be great. It's usually not 5 calls to get 5 people to come.
Right.
And, you know, it's pretty random how many it would be, so I can't tell you how many that would be. It depends on the people and what else is happening and all of that. But if you could do that, 5 personal phone calls. And personal email can be good too, but personal phone call is best. Yeah.
I think if you have that perspective that this is a very important thing and you're all giving your time to this and you're extending an invitation to people, if you kind of adopt that demeanor,
Right.
it makes the person you're calling feel important, that there's a value in their being at the meeting. And I just think it makes such a huge difference. I'm a big believer in the phone calls. I realize that you can't call 100 people, but it's remarkable how effective phone calls can be, especially if you call somebody that you don't always communicate with, or somebody that maybe you're not all that wild about, but, you know.
Oh, Judy's really keen on calling people you disagree
Yeah,
with.
I am, because people are taken aback, they're really surprised.
You want me to come, even though you would argue with me?
Yeah, so, just conveying how important this is makes the person who's getting the call feel important, and it increases the probability that they will show up.
And especially because, I don't know about you, but I think most people now don't talk on the phone so much. You know, there's so much texting and emailing, and even with my own children, it's amazing. If I compare to
All
how,
they do
you
is
know,
text.
Yeah. So when you get a phone call, it's a lot more, there's more gravity to it, you know, more. So, last but not least, unless you have any comments or questions on that.
Posting like crazy.
I am. I've got 26 people I just invited, and now I'm trying
Good
to figure
for
out how to make a
you.
little
Good for you.
saying here. Share your thoughts and help
Shape the
shape
future of
the
Westwood.
future of Westwood.
Shape the future of Westwood. So, Stephen, Pam's son.
I did not get your email until like just now.
I'm sorry.
It's
So I
okay.
know you've been away.
I was away,
So that's why I sent it a couple of times, because I thought, well, she was so responsive
I
last
know,
time.
I would have been, I just didn't see it.
Yeah. So Stephen has done a couple of rounds, and then we've tried to identify kind of a range of options, so that, well, we have to be very efficient about tonight, making some decisions, and giving him our last input so that he can turn this around so we can get it on everything. Right. So,
Well, he's gonna have to do this himself. He volunteered his time to make it, and he has to get it on to
Yeah, you
everything.
volunteered.
no, we'll get on to it. Yeah. So just to tell you that we had kind of put our heads together, and we came out with 3 options. So I just want to, the first one, if you look at this here, and you see like the kind of the pink town hall, let's just write on it number 1. So when we have our discussion, we all can know what we're talking about.
Oh.
So the pink town hall on this single sheet, sheet. Separate, not stapled
That's what I
sheet.
get for texting.
That's what you get for texting. So pink town hall, okay. The second one, which is the more kind of refined, drawn town hall with a few clouds or thought bubbles on it, that will be option number 2. And then if you look in the stapled version, if you go to the fourth one, which is,
It's on the back.
oh, it's on the back, sorry, okay. Thank you. On the back, on the back. That's option 3. So, I think just for the sake of the, making the discussion more efficient, we identified those 3 as representing 3 distinct, a range of options, right. And then the others are sort of different versions of it. So why don't we just start with, is there anything that comes to your mind about option 1 that you like? Shout it out.
I like the drawn and less formal appearance of it.
Yeah. Anything else?
It's clean, it's not cluttered.
Clean, not
I
cluttered.
like that about it too.
Anything you don't like about it?
I think the Westwood enlarged type across it kind of detracts from it.
Mhm. Font on it,
Yes.
on building.
And a W in the middle.
And the W in the middle.
I don't like that.
No, I
Yeah, I
don't
don't like
either.
that.
I don't like
It's out
that
of
either.
place, the green
Yeah.
W.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we'll just do
It's
like a
It's a
quick,
little too,
sorry?
it's a little too abstract.
What's
And-
abstract?
Well, like,
The sketch.
the
The
no
sketch?
windows, yeah, the no windows in one end, and they're all kind of crowding in the other end, sort of,
Symmetry.
yeah.
Abstract,
no
lack
symmetry,
symmetry,
yeah.
okay. So, we'll do like a brief, just, what is your gut feeling, and then we'll go back. So option 2, what do you like about it?
Immediate recognition of Westwood.
Immediate recognition.
And it's got some green in it, greenery,
Yeah.
which I think is something about it.
Yeah?
I do like the thought bubbles.
Thought bubbles, uh-huh.
I was saying to Abby before, I
didn't
think
know
he's
they were
got
thought
a
bubbles.
W
Yes.
superimposed
I
in
know
the
they were
background.
They can
Oh.
be clouds.
Like had the gray. I think
yeah,
that's what the
yeah.
gray is.
Oh, my
I think-
goodness.
I think
Yeah.
that looks,
Oh,
to
that's
me,
what
looks
that
like
is.
industry smokestack.
It does,
I
yeah.
just
Yeah,
thought
okay.
it was
Get rid of those.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
if we
did
had to
realize
ask what the gray was, then
Yeah.
that's eliminated right there.
Yeah. It does look like that. And then with the clouds,
Mhm.
right. So that's what we don't like. Anything else you don't like about it?
I think it,
No, I
I
like
think the illustration's a little busy.
Busy.
What are we
Yeah.
doing? Are we branding something's going to be handed to people, or are people driving by
We're
this
branding,
illustration?
we're branding the
Logo.
process. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be the logo and the tagline on paper,
Yes.
on the screen, small, large, could be on T-shirts,
Right.
yeah.
But it could be on the sandwich board that you're
That's right.
driving by.
It's absolutely.
Yeah.
Electronic,
Too
social
much
media.
detail.
So it's too much detail.
Yes, I think.
Too crowded.
And then
I
what?
like it though. I like it.
I do too.
I like it better.
I do
I
think
like
it's
it better than the
definitely-
top one. I mean, you might
So wait, we're
be
not
able to
talking about
get-
better yet.
Okay, but, so I would say then, my suggestion would be maybe something above the, whatever's above the clock could maybe be limited or taken out, so
Take
it's
out that
not as
W.
busy.
Take out the gray W
even.
behind.
Right, so
I mean,
it
it
would be
would-
all green.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, on this sheet, on page
Yeah, you have
number
different
2
versions
there,
of it.
Right,
it's the same thing without
right.
all the clouds and all the.
Right.
Yeah.
Except it's not exactly the same because
Yeah.
it doesn't have
That's
that
why you have
rounded
many-
feel.
you
It
have a
doesn't
couple
have a
different
circle on
versions
it,
of
yeah.
it.
Right.
Take that and put the circle back in.
And it's that, right.
Yeah, it's cleaner. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's all different now in town, our future.
So,
I do
So
think it
maybe our
communicates.
town-
wait,
Oh, sorry.
I do think it communicates our town, our future better than the top.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the our town, our future on 2 separate lines.
I was gonna suggest it on the same line.
But
a
with that
dot
W in the
between.
middle, it doesn't,
well, maybe the
Okay.
dot in between instead of a
a
W.
dot, yeah,
Yeah.
So one line or two is the question.
yeah.
So what about the one that is in the larger packet that doesn't have as much shading on the bushes? Is that something that you guys
So
would
which
like to
number
do?
are you referring to?
Well, on here it's
Two?
number 1.
Okay,
Or two.
in the packet with the staple.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at number 1 because
Oh.
it has less shading on the bushes for people who thought it was more.
Too busy.
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 So it's a little flatter.
But why don't we do all three first, then we'll go back to each one and delve deeper. So option 3, on the back sheet,
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like
no,
it
no,
either. It's
what
like
do
a-
we, what do we like?
We
What-
only did that because that was one of our
Ex- oh, of course.
suggestions in the.
So is there anything we like about option 3?
No.
I don't.
Nothing. We don't like anything about option 3.
It makes me think of sports.
Yes.
Sports.
That's what I just did.
say that to you?
Exactly, varsity
Completely
sports.
Done. But
Okay, anything else we
So
don't
that's
like about it?
Positive.
Oh, that's a positive.
But it's a negative.
Okay, great. Anything else we don't like about 3? But it does sound,
It
is
doesn't
anybody,
evoke, like, that you're planning for Westwood.
But enough, yeah.
so does anyone want to keep 3 in the discussion, or do we remove it now?
Remove it.
Remove.
Anyone want to keep it in the discussion? No. 3 is out. So now let's go back to what Pam was talking about, looking at option 2 and looking at it in the packet, because there are different
Yeah.
versions.
The less busy
The
version.
original one on this sheet, I have to say, you have the sun in one place and the shade is the wrong way, so.
Damn, you're tough.
That can be
Yeah,
easily
yeah.
fixed.
But it's a valid point.
So
Tell me to
if,
switch.
so if we were to, let's say we were to choose one of the less, I don't know, burdened town halls, with industry and clouds and sun and shade, and compare it to option 1. In other words, if we could make option 2 the way you'd like to see it, without the W in the back and without the shade and the sun, and how would it compare to option 1? Who would prefer a revised option, like an option 1 that was improved in the ways that you would like, to an option 2 that was improved in the ways you? So who would prefer an improved option 1 to an improved option 2?
I'd like to see an improved option.
You'd like to
one.
see one,
Yeah.
okay? C. Anyone else like to see an improved option 1?
I liked option 1, but when you take Westwood off of the building, it looks pretty sparse,
Right.
right? But then you can see Westwood better if it's not on the building, so
Right.
that's why I kind of.
So, but you'd like to see what that would look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else like to see what that would look like?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, enough people would like to see what that would look like.
So we're not gonna
So
try to
what are
put
we
this
talking
on any
about
of the
here
print
exactly?
materials.
No, not now.
Okay, I'll
Improve
follow
option
tonight.
1.
If we have to, I think,
Step.
if we have to make a decision tonight, I think we should just go with number 2 and not try to improve number 1 if we don't have the time.
That's my sense too.
Well, I was gonna see
Think
now
we're
how
all
many
seeming
people
to
feel
belong to
about
number
2.
2.
Okay. So, in terms of option 2, we said immediate recognition, the greenery, the thought bubbles, people liked. Does everybody like the thought bubbles?
I'm good with them.
Wait a minute.
They're clouds, aren't they?
Yeah.
I thought they were clouds.
Yeah.
Now, I think you need to lose the sun, lose the clouds, lose that,
So you're looking at.
So we're looking, so now we're back
Here,
to this.
Steve, what
I like the
Pam was-
sun.
likes the
Why
sun.
can't I
Yes.
keep the sun?
in other
The
words,
sun shows like brightness in the future.
Yeah.
in other words, the one on number 1, the simple number 1 with the circle back around it.
Okay. Oh, so who wants the circle background in?
With
I
green
like the
too?
circle background.
Yeah.
You do?
Otherwise, it's
Sure.
too plain.
Yeah, green looks good.
I don't know if
Like
there's
circle
an
background.
option of that, I'm just gonna say
Wow.
it, so you could shoot me down, tell me to
Go,
shut up, it's
go,
fine.
go.
I like everything about it, except that I think what's missing is the open space. That Westwood isn't just a building, is there a way to incorporate a tree or, I don't know, something
Yeah,
that just
no, I
gives
hear
it a
what you're
little
saying,
bit of nature?
I think the circle is green,
Yeah.
which is the town's color.
Suggested.
So if they
And
put
it gives you
this,
that little feeling of more green in
Without the
town.
W.
Yeah, with
Just
yeah,
the
so if
W.
this circle of green went behind it.
Yeah,
And the
could it-
wording,
Could an
the words are
actual
also
tree be
green.
behind it of some sort? I don't know.
But what
Um,
I
behind
just worry about making
Huh?
it
Too
too
busy.
busy.
Yeah.
Some
This-
nature, just some form of nature. I mean, you've got the shrubs, but those are,
A big oak tree.
But they're
Well,
stylized.
a big
Then
oak
I think
tree,
that's
Have children,
The
and
shrubs with
Just
the shade.
missing that open space nature feel.
Keep the shrubs with the
No,
shade.
You want the shrubs with the shade,
With the
It might
shade.
be too
Like they
hard to
are
do,
in this
and
one.
Tell me to be quiet.
Right.
yeah.
Kind of move the sun to the other side.
Okay, so we're losing some ideas. So one idea is shrubs with shade. Anyone disagree with adding the shade to the shrubs?
Yeah,
As they
because
are, they are
it makes it
shaded
look real.
shrubs in this version.
It makes it look real rather than
Oh, I
cartoon.
didn't
Rather
know
than
that was shade.
stylized,
I
yeah.
just,
So what did you say?
I had no idea it was a shaded shrub. I
Oh.
just thought it was a dark green and a
Oh, I
light
see.
green. But okay, that makes sense.
Okay,
Doesn't matter.
If you have the dark green circle behind it, the
right?
dark green from the shade helps tie it
Helps
together.
tie it together.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's true.
Unifies.
Why don't we make the circle the sun? And
Mm.
you're like lighting up Westwood.
Yeah.
I think that would be too big a sun. Yeah, it's just-
Depends on how big the
Climate
logo becomes.
Could you do a sun in a tree
Yeah.
behind it?
Yeah, and
Like a
And
smaller
now
sun?
we're gonna add
We're
some
gonna get that
I
children.
just want some nature, like, well, if you remember the ones that you showed us
Yes, I know.
originally.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, if you tell me to be quiet, I
No,
will.
no one was telling you
Just,
to be
I
quiet.
just miss
Not
the
like that,
nature
like, so you
feel, and
see
maybe
it's
that's
the sun
why.
radiating.
Like this
Yeah.
one had, I'm not saying add people, but you
Right.
had a tree kind of behind that.
Yeah,
Remember that one? And I
Yeah.
think it was the
But I think yellow
Holden.
and green always go
and
together.
Holden too.
anyways.
No, Holden was
Right,
his
well,
building.
Holden had a sun
Had a
behind a
sun.
building,
Yeah.
right? So it doesn't have to be big, like you said, but just some kind of nature.
Just, so, does everyone want a sun put back in? But a little one? No.
well, first of all, it should be on the right, not on the
Well,
left.
that he can change.
Yeah, that he can change. It's, do we want a
Or
sun
we
in
can
the,
take it out altogether.
Now,
No, keep it clean.
keep it clean?
because, yeah.
It is
the
a
sun and
logo
the
after
clouds
all.
makes sense, but just a sun with no clouds
And it
doesn't.
is a logo, okay.
All right, what are we doing?
So-
Just a-
So what we're doing so far is we're putting the green circle on version 1 in the packet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're shading the shrubs.
Why don't you take
Yeah.
version
I like
Well,
version
wait a
two.
minute,
two? Version,
Yeah, version
Yeah,
2.
this is version
I like
two.
Version 2.
version two. and-
Version 2 with the
My
circle.
favorite,
Yeah.
that's the one I circled.
So let's
wait a
do
minute,
version
what's so
2.
bad about, look at, if you have the tree and you do a sun where you want it? Like if you can put it in the background without it being too busy,
so we're getting rid of this.
like you have the sun set in there and
massive tree,
he puts
Yeah.
just a tree shaded in the background, it gives it some nature.
I can ask him, certainly, I'm sure he can do whatever we want him to do.
I'm afraid this is gonna be very
Busy.
Busy.
It's getting very busy.
Because it's a
Yeah.
logo.
Yeah.
It's
Take
a
all the
logo.
shrubs away.
Should we say comprehensive plan 2020?
I think we need to say it somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
Underneath all the
so we
words?
did West, if we're looking at version 2 now, right?
On the top.
And we take out the W in the middle, everyone agreed.
Yep.
And I liked your idea about putting a dot there. Does everyone want
Yeah.
that?
something to separate.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
like a dot.
Or maybe you can put a little tree there.
Okay, see, that's a nature, I love the compromise.
That would be fine, a little tiny.
A little tiny
Little
tree.
teeny
A
tiny.
little tiny oak tree.
Actually, if you can get the one on
A
the town
bicycle.
seal, actually, if you
Oh.
put the town seal, which has a tree, then you get everything.
You'll never
Hey.
be able to see it though.
But that'd
Yeah.
be tiny,
Yeah.
tiny,
Tiny.
A
tiny.
stylized
What
town
are all
seal.
those
Stylized.
trees in the
Yeah.
front here?
It kind of looks
That
like
one, right, that
the
thing.
They
tree
always
is
look
a
like they're
tree.
on the
Oh,
building
shrubbery.
now. You know?
So if we have our town, our future on one line, and then had it in small, well, I don't know what the font would be like. You'd have to figure that out.
Mm.
Comprehensive plan.
Replace the W between our time and our future with 2020.
No, I thought we were gonna put a
No, we're
dot
gonna put,
there.
Oh.
so are we doing 2020
We're
for
putting a-
comprehensive plan?
A little tree dot.
Is it 2020?
20.
2020.
I can ask him for it.
No, yeah, like a
Future generations will
little tree.
appreciate that.
And that should
One that's
probably be
shaped like the one
lowercase,
on
so
the
comprehensive
town
plan 2020 in lowercase.
Mhm.
And then we have,
although, yeah.
In
All
lowercase?
on
I,
there?
can I make a suggestion?
yes.
I would let Stephen figure out what font to
Yeah.
do.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
that they match.
Yes, so that they match.
Yep,
It's gonna have to match.
It's definitely gonna have to
I
match.
might also suggest our town, our future. I might go 10% bolder.
Yes,
It's,
I
it's,
agree.
I think it's just a little thicker on
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 the-
that lettering.
It is,
help
it's
it
thicker
font.
here, and you can see it
Correct.
does help it.
It's
Yeah.
thicker on the one page.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't like the shrubs. because they don't really look like shrubs.
I was thinking
And
the same thing.
I would put,
can't.
if you really want trees, I'd take out the shrubs and put a tree on each side, right where that comes out.
Or one.
One, it could be
How about just
one.
one?
It could be, I don't know, we don't really have a clock, well, the clock's on the top, but, I don't know, it could be something else, but
So I think he was basing it on the real town hall.
Yes,
though.
there
Right.
are
There
shrubs
are
I like
shrubs
that.
there.
in front of
It-
the town
it-
hall.
It says that.
Yes, but the future.
But
We're gonna
I-
pull them and we're stick a tree there.
If you have anything to do with it.
There are some
There is
flowering trees.
Somebody go out and
I'm
find out
totally
if there's a tree
joking.
out there.
I
But
agree.
perhaps they should
Just
not
leave
be
it.
squares.
Yeah, they do
yeah,
look a
they
little,
they look like a
Yeah.
box of some
they
sort.
look like,
Yeah.
you know, what
If
is
we can
those?
make
Some
them
people
more
actually like the
attractive
bushes
shrubs.
like that.
Veil.
Yeah, isn't there
They do look like
smack-
that.
Sort of centered on the front?
They do
Yeah.
do like.
They veil.
They look like that. That's what it
Do
looks
Do they
like.
really? Are they that
Yeah.
meticulous? Are they really?
No,
Yeah.
can you tell?
Then we need to change that.
They are, well, they're flat cut, I don't know if they're really square, they're definitely flat.
Okay, so
Do
now
we
we
have
have
enough?
15 minutes to
Okay.
make very
Okay.
important decisions. So,
Shrink the shrubs.
shrinking the shrubs.
Shrink the shrubs.
Okay, wait. So let's start at the beginning. We're starting with version 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've let go of option 1. Is everyone who liked
Yeah.
option 1
Yeah.
okay with letting go?
that's
Yes.
fine.
Okay, just want to be sure. So now, we're on option 2. We've added the green background from the circle, the green circle, dark green.
ominous though, that
Yeah,
dark
the
green.
circle
It looks
dark green, I
ominous?
think for me.
I don't think we need
I
it.
don't think so.
From a distance, it looked
I think
ominous,
it
it looks like
looks-
Halloween.
I think it makes it look more real.
Hmm.
This one looks, yeah, too cartoonish.
you're gonna want
And it looks like a real thing.
Yeah,
I think we need a background.
I think the
Background color,
makes
maybe
it
a
stand
lighter
out.
green.
I think it's gonna anchor it.
So
No, we
lighter,
want the Westwood color
but we
green.
wanted
Yeah, I
the,
don't know if I put a lighter green behind it. It's
We want
be
Westwood
too-
green.
you know what, I think the Halloweenish is because it has the clouds and the W.
Yeah, maybe,
So I think if that's all out,
yeah, it'll be less Halloweenish.
yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's do that then.
So
Okay,
is
so
it
dark-
representing something that I'm missing?
Which?
The green circle?
It's representing the open space that you want.
It's a giant
Oh,
leaf,
that's
it's
a
a giant
good there.
leaf,
Open space.
it's a giant leaf of a tree.
Yeah,
It's a giant
You guys are really.
of a really big.
that's what it is.
It's a really round leaf.
But it does help define a logo.
It does, it's
It
more
does, that's a good
logo-ish.
point.
It's more
Right.
logo-ish.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so we have, okay, back again, we're on 2, we've added back this circle, we've kept our town, our future, where we've moved the W from the middle, made a big dot, or perhaps a tiny
No, we
oak
want
tree.
a tree.
Tiny tree.
A tiny
Tiny
tree in the
tree.
shape of the one.
And you know it's gonna
that's
look
down.
stupid and then it's gonna be the end of that tree.
I'll tell them to give us.
She already knows it, she already knows it.
You're gonna pull that tree.
She's predicting
Yeah,
it.
but tree.
Can we do like that scroll thing in the between instead of a dot, you know, something like,
Yes, or,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't
some
know what to
different
call it.
symbol.
like a
It's
symbol?
sort of like an ampersand,
Yeah,
kind of a
like this.
symbol.
Oh,
Our town and
like an
our future.
Yeah, like
approximately,
just to differentiate.
I think when you see the tree, you'll like it.
I'll put a diamond.
Steve,
I don't
close
know
on
if
that.
this would
He's
really
gonna
So
like
he has to
equate to our town, our future. That would be like, I don't know, as to.
it's kind of like approximately equals.
Yeah, yeah,
Our-
a mathematical symbol.
A
or
diamond,
something.
a square on its edge.
Equal to or greater than.
Yeah.
Infinity.
Could be.
You want the
Our
tree that
town
ties
and our
everything
future.
together by nature, you know.
Okay. let's-
So,
Well,
okay,
mine.
Could do.
so if he could play around with that and quickly, yes.
Like,
Well,
can you
like,
get it done
he's
tonight?
3 hours behind us, so.
Oh, good. 3
dear.
hours.
It would be useful to just do this and
Yeah.
and get
Yeah,
on
yeah.
to the material.
Right.
Then we want to have the our town, our future a little bit bolder.
I wrote that already.
And then we want to add underneath it, comprehensive plan 2020. I'm suggesting lowercase. This gentleman is suggesting we leave it to Stephen.
Yep.
What if we put comprehensive plan 2020 in between Westwood and our town, our
Oh.
future? Because kind of the top and the bottom will come to your mind,
It's too
come to
much,
your eyes.
it's way too much to put between them.
I think if we put comprehensive plan in lowercase, it's gonna look more like a web address.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't like lowercase.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
What color are you gonna make it? Because if it's gonna go inside the green, you can't make it green. Can't match the green at the bottom.
Yeah,
True.
I think you need a larger font for the
That's gonna be done.
Our Town, Our Future.
Wait a
Use
minute.
the Our Town, Our
I was
Future
kinda
font.
thinking it would be.
For the-
Why
Comprehensive
can't
plan
it be the
2020.
website?
Oh,
Why can't it?
why can't it just
People
be the
know to
website?
go there.
Hear that,
Yeah.
ma'am?
Maybe
I
it
heard
should
that.
just be the
It
website.
should be the website,
Yeah.
which is
Comprehensive.
www. dot what?
So we have
I forget.
I don't
we
think
have
you
a,
need the
um,
WW.
we
There's
have
like a
it,
tiny
we have
URL.
a, what do you call that, compressed one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
tiny URL, yeah.
So if you look at the agenda at the bottom,
Oh, yeah.
Which
Oh,
one
yeah.
are we talking
The
about?
form, the
comprehensive
form.
plan?
remember?
public forum agenda at the
Oh,
bottom.
the one with the gray box, okay.
Yes.
Correct.
WW,
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a
What,
lot
what
to
is the
put on.
bit.do?
comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
Can we do 2020? WW comprehensive plan
That's
2020
the
dot
link-
org?
That's the compression.
But we have to
Too much
change the
to put there?
website, wouldn't we?
We'd have to, yes,
I wouldn't do
buy
it.
another
I wouldn't do
domain.
it.
or
No one's
whatever
gonna be
you do.
able to.
They're
Yeah.
not,
No.
I think we're
I
making
would
this
leave it on
more
Yeah.
website.
Yep.
No,
visually too
Too
complicated.
complicated.
Too many things.
So
Yeah.
just leave
Okay.
comprehensive
Yep,
plan off.
2020.
And the website
No,
is
no,
not
leave it
existing.
on the
Oh,
country,
no,
plan
no,
2020, and not the web address.
Okay.
The website may not exist that long.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna be able to copy that thing.
And
over.
What if
and we'll
it's in
just put it at the
cursive?
bottom of the page in every case.
Sure.
What if it's in a different, not a different, I mean, the same font, but kind of cursive?
Ooh, like italics.
Yeah,
or-
italicized or something?
Yeah,
Again, I'd let Peter,
yeah,
Let
let's
Stephen
Stephen,
figure
yeah.
that one out.
But these are
I mean, that's not-
suggestions,
that's
right?
Yep.
Something he
It
can
may start
Yeah.
forming.
change
like
like that.
But just giving him the idea that
Yeah.
we want it to be a little bit
It
different.
could be circular.
I
like you
like
said, Linda.
circular, because I think the first thing you should be seeing at the top is comprehensive plan 2020.
Oh,
So
so
at
you
the
mean
town
like
hall-
comprehensive
Yeah, like,
over the green?
yeah, like you
In
could
the
probably
green.
include it in
On
the
the
green
curve.
In the
somehow.
green.
That's why I
Could
said
be
it would have
Oh,
to be a
okay.
different color
Oh.
font.
Could be white lettering,
White lettering in
Right.
the green like that.
Yeah,
Be okay.
overarching.
yeah. Black, white,
Oh, so overarching,
Yeah.
our town, our future is the comprehensive
Yeah.
plan,
yeah.
which is an umbrella under
Oh, yeah,
which,
that's a good
yeah.
idea.
That's Linda's idea.
Synologist.
I stole it. I'll take it.
Do they,
If it's any
does the
good.
clock up there have any?
Yeah, it's not good, she's.
So there's no time,
My
Oh,
microphone right now.
there's no time like no time.
How time? That's
All right,
good.
we good on
Leave
this? Everybody happy?
I think I got
So,
everything.
so, you said, is he in
I'll ask him to do it tonight.
is he in California?
Yeah,
By 9 o'clock, by 9:20.
So it would be so great.
well, he's still at work right now, so
Oh, so we've got plenty of time.
Yeah.
to catch him on his way
So
home.
who's gonna approve it?
Yeah, so this, that was gonna be the
Somebody-
next thing.
One of you guys gonna work with Steven and just
Yeah.
go,
Have to
that's
just
it?
go
Do
and.
you wanna just do it
You're the
together?
chair.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll do it.
And then we'll send it out. So we're gonna put it, so we'll put this on the final flyer as well.
Okay.
So then you'll get that on,
That'd be
on
really
Monday.
That'd be really
Fine.
good.
Okay, so for Monday, okay, because we'll do the Westwood Wire, we can update the Facebook
Right.
page and
We'll do
Okay.
everything. So by Monday, we'll have
I'm hoping
everything
we'll have it by tomorrow, but
Okay.
we'll definitely have it over the weekend.
Okay.
perfect.
No
We
question.
can place our order for 10,000 t-shirts, right?
That's right.
Everybody's gonna want
Everyone's gonna want
one
one.
for every family member.
Everybody.
So I think
Anybody.
somebody should send number 6 though to the school, because I really like that one.
Oh, for the sports.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
sports.
I thought that was
I
nice, but
really
not
like
for
that.
us, but.
Not
Not for
for
the
us,
comprehensive plan, but I really like that one.
It's-
I
it's
think
very
that- I think the
contemporary,
one we
right?
ended
I
up
like
was
it a
very
lot. I could see
eye-catching.
that.
Yeah.
All right, is there anything you wanted
Yeah.
to say further about the survey? You know, you all have a copy of the
A
survey
lot of
results.
information in
You
there.
should probably look
A lot
at
of information.
Um,
I've looked at it a couple of times.
it. I wanted, you got meeting minutes from April 11th. I read through it, looks good to me. Do you want to just approve those minutes? And
I second that motion.
I don't see
All in
them.
favor?
Aye.
They're approved.
Okay.
Daphne, is there anything we need to know? What time to show up?
So you should be, since it's starting at 11:30, I think everyone should be there the latest at 11. And I will be there earlier, trying to make sure the furniture is all set up and food and everything. So if anyone wants to help with that, we would never say no to help. And then basically, right from now until then, it's the outreach, using the old flyers until Monday. Monday, new electronic flyers. And, you know, who cares if they get it twice in their box? It just reminds them. Some people can't make a decision early on until it's closer to the date. And then those calls, those phone calls, to get 5 people to say yes, that they're coming. That's really important. Because if each of you get 5 people, we already, you know, have to start sharing sandwiches.
So I have a little bit of a maybe bad kind of news that the same morning at the library is the Westwood Democratic meeting.
It is, yes.
Oh.
What I suggested is that they don't fill up their agenda, and that they ended in sufficient time for people to be able to go with the second one.
Oh, what a good idea.
And it would be important for them to, like, announce that.
Announce
Right.
that.
That might be
Exactly.
even better. the
Yeah,
fact
right,
that they're
yeah.
doing
So
that.
I didn't know
That
if
could
that
really
was an
work.
all-day thing, but if that's
No,
not an
it's
all-day
not.
thing,
It's
it
not
could
an
work out perfect.
And tell them that lunch is waiting.
Yes.
I will be there, so I will tell them.
Oh, good.
Well, I
Okay.
will tell people who come to the first parish yard sale. If they're from Westwood, to come down and go to the middle school. at 11:30.
Perfect.
All right, so before we adjourn, does anybody have any final comments or questions or thoughts? Okay, very good. Again, we really appreciate your efforts on the behalf of the plan. So we'll see you on Saturday at 11 o'clock. Not this Saturday.
I'm sure for a week or
Nobody came.
And any ideas for raffles too? Any more raffles, it can only be fun, right?
Okay, no, any contributions for the raffle go to Abby.
And also the special places photos and why it's a special place go to Abby.
Abby, I sent you one.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't say why I was.
Okay, I'll post it tomorrow.
All right, thank you all. We're adjourned.
So I just told the state.
Perfect.